Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show, we're talking about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Riverdale. So quite a few things went down in this episode. First, we'll start off with the whole Archie and Jughead situation. I actually kind of didn't expect Jughead to come along with him all the way. I thought like, oh, Jughead, get him up to a certain point and then come back. But I like his explanation being like, nah, you can't make it on your own, Archie. Literally, you can't go 5 minutes without you getting kidnapped or someone kicking your ass. Plus, that was before Hiram wanted you dead, too. So there's that aspect to it as well. They show up at a farm. They meet Lori and Gracie. And Archie's all about staying there, where Jughead was like, nah, I don't trust this place. I don't like it. It's weird. Something's off about this place. But Archie kind of didn't listen. I was worried about the whole him and Lori situation because it's like the moment they start kissing, I was like, nah, come on, Archie, don't do that. It's literally been like a couple days since you and Veronica broke up, but still, come on, dude, don't do it. But then he kind of pulls away. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry, this can't happen. I'm like, yes. But then he starts spilling all the beans to her. I'm like, don't do that because you don't know who she really is. And it's like, because they had also told a story of like, oh yeah, like all of our, you know, my brother and my dad, well, our brother and our dad, they left to go work on, work down the river, but all the men apparently have. It's only ladies in town and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, what's up with that? Like, I felt like they were lying about that, which I guess technically they weren't in the grand scheme of things, but it felt fishy. Jughead definitely could sense it. His BS meter was kind of like firing off. He went into town. There's all this G&G stuff all over the place, the symbols all over the place. Then there's Fizzle Rocks, which is interesting because that town they were in, it was like first it was hit by Jingle Jangle and now it's being hit by Fizzle Rock. In the grand scheme of things, it's like that actually makes sense because obviously it's like it's connected to Hiram. Well, because initially Jingle Jangle was what the Ghoulies were running, and I'm blanking. Was Hiram behind that or not? I don't remember. I don't think he was. I know, like, that dude was, but I don't remember if Hiram ended up getting behind it or not. I mean, we now know he's behind the Fizzy Rock, which is interesting because it's like, where did he get that initially? Because he's the one that gave it to everyone from the Midnight Club back in the day. So is it the same supplier, or is it a situation of that's something that ran in Hiram's family? Did he only, because it's like, why now? Well, I guess he's in a position where he has enough power and resources to get it done, but he's also got the Ghoulies, he's got, Penny on his side. So I think it's just kind of interesting. Like, it makes you wonder, is that town the centerfold to get hit by like the Ghoulies or something like that? Because it's like first Jingle Jangle ran through the town, now Fizzle Rocks. So that's kind of interesting. It turns out, Hiram owns the town, which kind of just shows you it's not just in Riverdale. He's got a lot of places under his power and his reach. Were they always under his reach? Probably not. It's probably not until he really took a foothold in Riverdale that he eventually spread out. And it's like, in all honesty, there's nowhere Archie can run. Lori was trying to turn him in because it's like, Lori wanted to use Archie as a bargaining chip to release her dad and her brother from their debt. So I'm guessing maybe that's how everyone in that town ended up in the situation that they are in, working on the prison, as well as, which the prison is secretly a factory for the Fizzy Rocks. But I'm assuming everyone else in town, all the men, were in debt to him. I doubt any of them are doing this because they want to. It's just probably because, like, if they don't, Hiram can make life potentially hard for him. Maybe it's simply only for Lori and Gracie's brother and dad, but maybe I feel like it applies to everyone else too. I mean, to be fair, it's not like we got a good look at the town. I mean, from what we've seen, there was only like 4 other people in the town. I'm sure there were more, but still. Which I guess that would be an easy way to kind of control a town if like literally everyone owes you for whatever reason. So it's so interesting because it's always that thing. Hiram is very good at taking advantage of a situation. Remember, he took advantage of the whole Black Hood situation last season. Now he's taking advantage of this G&G thing. Even though he has such a sordid past with it, I guess for him it's like, hey, it is what it is. Yeah, I got my issues. Like, I guess for him he doesn't care because as long as Veronica's not playing it, I don't think he cares. Maybe he doesn't believe in it because he still kind of looks at it as a stupid game. But I think maybe somewhere, some level, it still freaks him out. Maybe on some level that pushes him to be the bad guy that he is because it's like, because he's compensating, because he might be overcompensating because the fact is maybe he was always kind of a little weak, and fearful when he was younger, and now he's trying to overcompensate it by being an adult who's got all the power, who rules by fear and power like that. That's kind of my assumption, but maybe that's not the case. It's just interesting how that all applies. Like, you're taking advantage of this situation that could involve your daughter, which kind of makes me feel like you don't care about her as much as you think you have, because like, he's the only one that hasn't really spoken out too much. Hermione has, but he's not really said too much about the game thing. Everyone else, I mean, even amongst the parents, they haven't really said it. I mean, we know how Reggie's dad felt about it, hence him hitting Reggie like that, but it's like, the others, we haven't really heard them talk. We didn't hear what Penelope really had to say about it. But the main reactions we've seen are FP's, Alice's, Reggie's dad. We haven't even seen Josie's mom. Like, well, I don't like the whole her having a seizure thing, sure, but like in the grand scheme of things, we haven't. I mean, it's kind of interesting too, because we know that Reggie, Josie, and Kevin were going to play the game, but we don't know if they ever started. I mean, because it's interesting because they wanted to find out what it was that Betty was hiding from, and it's like, Betty still never told them the truth about the Midnight Club, did she? Like, I don't think she has. Like, that's probably still an element we still got to be on the lookout for going forward. But getting to what I was about to talk about, which I thought was kind of interesting, was like how Archie wanted to kill Hiram, because for him it's like, that's not who Archie is. He's not all about killing people, but for him it's like, Hiram deserves it. Literally, he's caused nothing but misery and pain to not just only him, but so many people. He's a terrible person. And it's like, I'm sure for Archie, when Jug was like, well, what will Veronica think? It's not necessarily that you killed her dad, which that would be a problem. Even if her dad's evil, there's always going to be a part of her that loves her dad. So you doing that, she will always think of you as a guy who killed her dad. But also it's because she doesn't want you, Archie, to become a bad person like him, to do something like that. She doesn't want you to, like, basically stain your good nature, essentially, So Archie initially was just so dead set on it, because it's like, if I take Hiram out now, if we're not outgunned, we're outmatched. If I take him out now, I don't have to worry about him anymore. I can go back home. I can be with Veronica. I can have my life back. I don't have to worry about this constant fear. What also surprised me was the fact is that when it's all said and done, Jug was like, yeah, we got to go see my mom. I'm like, whoa. I brought that up last time, and I was like, I just threw that out there because I like them being on the road and everything. It's like, oh, where do we go? I was like, I felt like that was a logical step, just because I was like, that's probably like the few places you'd feel safe enough to go, which I'm very interested to go down that route, because I brought it up last time. It's like, Jughead's mom is a situation that's been brought up. It's kind of interesting, because I'm curious to see how his mom reacts, because his mom wasn't all that keen about him trying to stay with her back in, it wasn't that season 1, because she was like, oh, things are a little busy here, so you stay with your dad, but kind of when things get better, that type of thing. So it makes me think like it's probably like she's gotten on with her new life, and Jughead would just be a reminder of her old life, too much of a reminder of FP potentially. So that's kind of my thought process. So I'm interested to see how this whole thing goes down when they actually meet up with his mom. Then on the other side of things, we have Veronica and Reggie trying to bring business to the speakeasy. You have Hiram just coming out to stick the knife in a little deeper, because even Veronica's like, oh, you're here to twist the knife, because she's like pissed at him. He's like, why are you pissed at me? He's like, you literally are the reason why Archie left. It's like, nah, I don't know why he left. I mean, the paper says that his name is clear. He's been exonerated. And it's like, you have to see that. It's like you claim to love your daughter, but you're constantly a piece of shit. You say and do things, you claim you love her, but then why do you do things to hurt her? Once again, it's like, I think legitimately Hiram might not know how to love people any other way. Something just so messed up in his family. I mean, to be fair, the family business, of that whole mobster life, maybe that's what it is, but it seems like he has to rule by fear. He can't, because it's that typical ruler conundrum of like, is it better to be loved or feared? In his eyes, maybe he thinks both can coexist. Maybe he's trying to be the fearful person towards everyone else, but he wants Veronica to love. But the thing is, being kind of the monster that you are, you don't get to have both. Because even like it's that whole situation about Hermione, once again, it's that flip-flop. It's like she sticks by Hiram's side on so many things, because in all honesty, she's scared of him just as much as Veronica is, just as anyone else is. I'm sure she's just as scared of him as Archie is, because she knows that if she ever gets on Hiram's bad side, if she does anything to cross him, she will be in the same situation that Archie's, and that she would have to run for her life because he would always be coming after her. Because for her, it's like, oh, he's my husband, I'll stick by him. It's just, oh, you're not going to run, you're going to run after Archie, which Veronica's like, no, I'm not going to. Because I'm sure running after Archie, it's like, for one, she probably wouldn't know really where to start, but two, it's like, Archie did this for a reason. He's trying to protect me, and it just, or maybe she's kind of so pissed at Archie right now she doesn't want to look for him, because it's just kind of like she's so heartbroken and sad right now, so she moves out. I'm curious. Like once again, like I said, it seems season 1 you're kind of like, oh man, Hermione, because of the whole her and Fred thing, but then season 2 it completely changed because it's like Hermione and Hiram. So it's like, I'm so curious where she really stands, because obviously she's neck deep with everything he does. Granted, she doesn't know everything, because I guess it's like she's not, because even when he doesn't include her in everything, it's still, she still rolls with it. So it's like, I still feel like it's not like she really loves him. It's just kind of like, it's kind of the mob. Once you're kind of in, you're in. There's no divorcing out of that situation. That's how it seems like to me. So she's already talked about it before, like, Veronica's safe. If anything ever goes wrong, if Veronica betrays him like she's done multiple times, he won't really do anything to her. But Hermione, it's like, I don't have those same guarantees, because he doesn't care about Hermione like he does Veronica. Which, it's kind of interesting. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, over the course of the series, ever since Hiram came back last season, he's never actually shown any affection to Hermione. Like, the only affection we've ever seen between them was during the Midnight Club flashback. But other than that, like, you've never seen him really get affectionate with Hermione. I mean, she's never really gotten affectionate with him. So it does seem like automatic when you actually sit there and think, I never thought about that before, but it's like, there's never like any romantic scenes between them or something, or just being like, oh, loving and embracing each other. It's like, no, it's just a very just casual, like, business arrangement almost. Like, it seems like it's like that on both fronts, but maybe that's just me reading too deep into the situation. But I can't really remember anything like especially considering like the whole current affair between her and Fred. Like, you definitely saw that. You see it with like Alice and FP, like stuff like that you don't see with Hiram, and even the whole Penelope situation last season, her kind of doing her thing, spending time with people, her enjoying her best life, living her best life rather. But you don't see that with Hiram and Hermione, and it's just like, I never thought about that until now. I just think that's fascinating. But then there's like the whole Elio thing of like, hey, let's make a deal, and it's like, oh, he's trying to be a piece of crap because he's trying to win and bankrupt you, because it's like, oh, why take 25% of the profit when I can take everything and leave you with nothing? And I was wondering, like, did Veronica really, like, I was like, did she have something planned herself? But it's like, no, she got the idea from her dad. I was like, I was hoping she didn't get any help from her dad. Because the sad thing is with Veronica, it's like, no matter how despicable her dad is, she always wants to give him a benefit of the doubt because it's her dad. And it's like, no matter how complicated it is, she knew her dad was kind of bad in season 1, learned a little bit more about him in season 2, and supported him a lot of this terrible stuff he did in certain regards. Like, she kind of supported a lot of what he did, but then eventually she kind of pulled back. This season she's pulling back even further. But now it seems like she's like, no. Maybe dad's not as bad, because she still wants to give him a benefit of doubt. But then Pop had a reminder. It's like, oh yeah, that Sheriff Mineta, remember he was missing? Yeah, we potentially found his body. Well, we don't know if it's his body or not, because his head's gone along with his hands. So it's pretty hard to identify the body, which is like, that's pretty brutal. There's even a conversation earlier where Hermione was like, you don't really think I did it? It's like, Veronica's like, I honestly don't know. To be fair, I doubt it was Hermione, and I highly doubt it was. I mean, for one, it was most likely Hiram, because Hiram, I mean, obviously he didn't do it himself because he never gets his hands dirty, but he's quick to clean up a mess that could lead back to him. Once again, it's that thing of like, the one who started all of this was Veronica, but he's not going to punish her. I mean, because he already kind of has that by driving Archie away. But more so than anything, that, and interestingly enough, that's still not enough for him, because even when that happened, it's like, hey, Archie, I can't wait to go track him down. It's like, literally, Archie's away from you. He's away from your daughter, and once again, there is no escaping it. He will follow Archie to the ends of the earth. He will always try and find out where Archie is, because he wants to make himself, like, it makes no sense why he has such the vendetta he does. because it's not going to solve anything in the end. Because if anything ever hard happens to Archie, I guess in his twisted mind, he thinks Veronica would forgive him. It's like, if you killed Archie, like, the only reason why she hasn't forgiven you is because, like, the reason why she continues to kind of forgive you is because she still believes there's some good in you, but also because it's like, you've never crossed the line too far when it comes to Archie. Yeah, you got him arrested and stuff like that, but you didn't kill him. Like I said, it's just, when you actually think about it in the grand scheme of things, she has given her dad a lot more chances than you kind of really realize with everything that's kind of going down. And then on top of all that, it's just, like, if anyone is a potential threat to him, he will wipe them out. Kind of getting back to what I was trying to bring up earlier, because it's like, the one who could connect everything back to him is Mineta, so he had to go. So just like the kids, we saw how that kind of played out. So it's like, I don't, it's like I said, it's a wonder that Veronica continues to give him chance after chance. So, because even Pop was wondering, is like, don't become your dad, because her handling business the way she is, trying to make a profit for her speakeasy, she kind of handled things the way her dad would. The fact that she even got advice from him, and it's like, Pop is like, don't go down that path too far to the point you can't turn back. Like, don't become your dad. You're better than him. So there's that. Then there's the whole Betty side of things, where she's trying to control herself so that she can get out of there. That Ethel thing was a trip, dude. It's crazy, because I'm like, how'd you just end up here? I guess it's, well, because at first I'm like, oh, I guess you got sent here because of the whole, I mean, but that was the thing. I was like, why would you get sent here? I guess because of the whole G&G thing, but still, it was like, why would you be here? That was never something Betty really asked her. And it's like their roommates and everything. There's also Fizzle Rock being sent there. Claudio's dropping off Maple stuff there, which is like, I said Claudio, I meant Claudius. He's dropping off stuff there. Hiram's showing up there. It's like, okay, what the hell is going on here? Fizzle Rock's there. Ethel's situation is crazy. You know, I think I finally, like, because obviously G&G is all about getting inside of people's head. And now I think I kind of understand what Ethel's whole thing is, why, like, the game was able to get in her head and what it kind of did for her. Because it seems like the game is, going after people who, have issues that are kind of like, how do I put it? Like, people who are disheartened, just like there's something that's not what they want, and it kind of picks at that little bit of a weakness in people, and it kind of festers there. Like in Ethel's case, I think it's because she was never Miss Popular, because she's like, oh, you and your snobby friends, and then you have Betty being like, what are you talking about? Like, kind of her and her selfish friends. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, because, like, I mean, within a story, they've never really run into Ethel like that. They've never really had a problem with Ethel until this season where she's kind of doing this. But I think it's because for her, she's like, I'm Queen Bee here. It's because for once she gets to be important. Like, I feel like for her, Ethel, she's always kind of fallen in the shadows. Like, obviously everything that happened with the Lodges and her family, like them being in that situation. And I think just naturally, she's always kind of been the background. And I think that's what this G&G game attacked, and it made her feel important for the first time. It kind of filled that hole in her heart. Then she starts bringing up the Jug thing, and even Betty in her head, like, this bitch. I was like, yo! Because Ethel's like, the fact is, I don't think Jug's into you anymore. It's like, we had a connection. I'm like, you literally forced him to kind of kiss you. Like, if you don't kiss me, it doesn't make things go down the way it's supposed to, so you won't get the game book like you wanted. So, and even Betty brings that up later on, because you could just tell like things were just like off with the whole Ethel situation. Like, it's scary, and it's so interesting because it is like Ethel was never like this before, and I like the contrast of her being almost a villain and sorts of just how she operates, of her just, I don't know. Her situation is crazy, especially because like when Betty was kind of like trying to cause a distraction and everything, being like, oh, you think you'll be with Jughead? Ethelhead? Really? Only in your dreams. It's like, and then Ethel's like, the fact of the matter is you're mad because we'll ascend and you won't, and this and that. And it's just like Ethel keeping an eye on Betty like that, like always watching out for her. It's just a messed up situation, because in the grand scheme of things, what she ended up figuring out, it seems, because it's like, what is the point of the whole Sisters of Quiet Mercy? It's like, what part do they play in all this? It's like, okay, so Hiram is testing out the Fizzle Rock on the girls there, I guess, to test the quality of it. I mean, because I guess, because we already know that the people of Quiet Mercy are extremely, extremely morally gray. We already know that. Hence, once again, a great example we can use, Polly kind of getting locked up there in the first place. There's that. Then there's the whole, Cheryl thing last season. And once again, it's kind of showing just how great they are. So that whole thing kind of makes you go, so for them, I guess they're getting a big push from Hiram, because it's not like, oh, he's a generous donor. It's like, no, they're getting paid to kind of do this. And it just kind of shows you like, oh yeah, it's so interesting because like Alice sent her there because it's like, oh, I want to protect Betty. It's like you literally put her in the lion's den, and I hope she feels bad about it later on, especially because like Betty gets captured and she gets all drugged up, and it seems like she's caught up in all of this now, She's kind of legitimately sipping the Kool-Aid now. Unintentionally, and she didn't want to. She was hoping to get out, but I guess after Cheryl and Veronica and Tony's escape, last time because they bricked off the exit. So I'm sure Betty actually saw who was really underneath the Gargoyle King outfit, but because she was high, she saw stuff that wasn't really there. It makes you wonder. Well, because the thing is, Alice saw it before, because I was like, maybe they were high or whatever. But then I remembered, all right, because Alice wasn't high at the time because she was pregnant, so she didn't take any. So, once again, it's just a messed up situation all around. And it's like, what's going on here with this whole G&G situation? How did that get to... How is it spreading like it is across so many towns and stuff like that? Like, how far is this whole situation going to reach? Is this connected to the farm? Like, that's something we haven't really kind of gone back to. But I'm interested to see what's going on with that, like Alice and all that. Like, maybe some stuff will go down on the farm and that'll change her mind. Maybe FP will track her down, because I'm so interested to find out. Because there's also, like, everything else about the parents. Because we haven't really cut to them too much about, like, what they're really up to. Because it's interesting, because the whole Claudio situation is like, what didn't the last time we see him was season 2? Maybe he was with the group at the end working with Hiram. He might have been one of the people there. I can't remember. But I mean, obviously he's working with Hiram now, but still. What is, I guess, Maple, the Maple is how they're transporting it. Not necessarily they're putting it there, but maybe they're pretending like they're transporting Maple there when in actuality it's the Fizzle Rock. So there's a lot going on here, and I'm very interested to find out where all of this takes us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.